Hi, my name is Bill Paxton. I'm the coordinator for the CERT group here in South Sonoma County. I'm also the chair of the Sonoma County CERT Association, and I'm here to talk to you today about preparedness for a disaster and the stuff you might do and should have on hand for you, your family, and to help your neighbors. The first thing I'd like to talk about is getting prepared. And I brought along some materials I'd like to show you today. This is an excellent document put out by the Red Cross. It's called Preparing for a Disaster. It's a very brief checklist of what you should have and what you should do. And also, if you happen to have people who are disabled or frail elderly in your home or are acquainted with people who need that type of care and preparedness, we have a brochure also from the Red Cross on that subject. And in keeping with that, there's an excellent booklet put out by the United States Geological Survey, USGS, that talks about putting down roots in earthquake country. And that's us, earthquake country, as everybody can understand. What I want to talk about is a little bit about what the potential disasters are that we are facing here in South Sonoma County. As everyone knows, number one and foremost in everybody's mind, especially these days, is earthquake. And we don't anticipate one is going to be triggered by any of the other earthquakes that have happened around the world. And in fact, USGS says that's not a probability. However, what is a probability, and they've documented very clearly in this booklet they put out, is that we can expect anywhere from a 6.8 to a 7.0 earthquake magnitude between now and the year 2032. And that's not a possibility, that's a definite probability. And if you recall, the last earthquake we had at any size in this area was the Loma Prieta quake of 1989. That was a 6.8 and occurred down in the Santa Cruz area, and you saw how much it radiated up into the Bay Area. If we get a 6.8 to a 7.0 quake on the Hayward-Rogers Creek Fault, which is in our backyard, we can anticipate we'll get much more severity of shaking and damage than occurred during that quake because we're more local to it. The closer you are to the quake, the harder the shaking is going to be. And especially for those of you who live on what we call alluvial soil, soft soils, which unfortunately includes the east side of Petaluma up through the valley through Santa Rosa, that will give you even more problems because it shakes easier and stronger through softer soils. Moreover, we also have a feature called liquefaction. That means the earth is so friable it will percolate up from below where there's a water table and cause very soft, mushy type soils around any structures, which could cause toppling. Okay, that's pretty much what we can expect to happen. We also prepare for fires and floods in our program with CERT. However, we train against earthquakes because that being our potentially worst disaster, we always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's pretty much what I want to tell you about preparedness. Now I want to lead into some specifics of what you might have prepared for yourself. Hi again. I want to show you this time what you need to have to be prepared for an earthquake. Specifically, some of the materials you should have set ahead of time for a disaster. We know that a disaster isn't going to choose when it happens, especially an earthquake. It could happen right now. But one of the three things we know for sure is it's going to either happen when you're at work or at school or at home, or it's going to happen during the night. So we try to prepare for those three eventualities. So if it happens at night, the one thing you want to be sure of is that you don't have heavy objects around you at night, or that you're not sleeping underneath a window, or if you are sleeping under a window, that you have stout blinds you can pull down. The reason being obvious, that earthquakes can cause implosion of glass and you can be damaged and very much hurt by the shards of glass. The other thing you want to be sure of having is a good pair of shoes you can wear close to your bed. What we recommend is having a good flashlight, a good pair of stout shoes, and a whistle. Now you say, why do I need a whistle? Well, if you think about it, if you're stuck in your bedroom during the night and you're going to start shouting for help because you can't get out of that bedroom, your lungs are only going to last so long. You can use a whistle for a much longer period of time, and you can also be heard further. So having given those things for the nighttime, let's talk about the rest of the things you might need. You need a kit really for where you work, or if you're at home, know where you have a storage of supplies that will keep you at home for a period of time. We say up to 2 weeks. Now, that means basically having enough food and enough water, preferably non-perishable food that you've set aside, and enough water for the family if they're going to be at home, which is 1 gallon per person per day. That's a lot of water, but we can't get along without water. We can get along with less food, but not without less water. And by the way, for your pets, you also should put 1 gallon aside per day for them. And that's strictly drinking water. That's not for any use for any other purpose. What you want to do then is have a kit set aside at home, which is really a storage locker or something big chest you can put the stuff in, and we can provide to people that want to send in a copy of the list they should have. Then for getting away, if the damage to your structure is so strong that you have to go to a shelter, which fortunately is usually only approximately 35% of the population, then you need what we call a grab-and-go kit, or a go kit as some people call it. This in front of me is what you should have in that. Primarily, you need water. Again, 1 gallon per person per day. You should plan with this kit to be prepared for 3 days on your own before you reach a shelter, because you may not get there for whatever reason. Roads may be closed, there may be obstacles, you may have to do this in parts and stages before you actually get to a shelter. Also have plenty of food. What this box represents is 3 days of MREs, meals ready to eat. These are the types of things that our troops are issued. You should also have something to keep you warm. So that's why we have things like tent shelters, which can keep you warm, as well as being used for a tent, or a poncho, which can keep you dry as well as keeping you warm. And you should pack also some warm clothing in this kit. This is just an example. In there you should also have that flashlight, or another flashlight preferably. What I've put in the kit is, this is a camping stove, a small structure you can pick up at any good backpacking or outdoor store. And this is a canister that holds fuel for it. This combination will last you a week. This container, which is 1 liter of kerosene, and the backpacking stove, you're set heat-wise for a week. This you're set for 3 days with the water. Also, you should have a knife. You should, if you wish to have canned goods, don't forget the handy can opener. You need that. One thing that most people forget to put in kits is an emergency kit for injuries. You may get injured, or you may have injuries, and you may need treatment. Make sure you've got the supplies to take care of you and your family in a good kit like this. This is the type of kit that the Red Cross puts out. Also, for those of you that are taking medications, these are empty bottles of medications. And what you should do is have those in there, even if they're empty, so that when you get to a shelter, the Red Cross can arrange for you to get prescriptions refilled if you need them. Always have a good pair of stout gloves, and if need be, a tool that you can pry things with. Something that will get you out of your house if you need to, or help somebody else get into a house or get into your house. You need some kinds of tools. Duct tape, this stuff takes care of, we know, most everything. Have a roll of duct tape in there. A knife, and this is important. This is a shut-off tool for your gas. If you hear gas when you're leaving your house or smell gas, turn off the gas. This is a simple tool that fits over the gas turn-off plug, and all you have to do is turn it from vertical to horizontal, and it's off. That's only if you smell or hear gas. Otherwise, leave it on, because if you go to start the utilities again, you're going to wait a long time before PG&E or somebody else comes up to turn them on. This is keep you going pretty well. You've got enough here to keep you sustained for at least 3 days till you can get to a shelter and you're on your way. Now, I want to bring up one of the most important things that we use in our program. We teach what is called ham radio operation. This is a ham radio for those of you who haven't seen one. This is the new version of what they call a handy-talkie. This is just about the size of your cell phone, a little larger, and all you need to do is get an FCC license, which is easy to get, and learn how to use the ham radio, for which we have lots of people to help you get started. And you can communicate with the world with the two-way ham radio. Please, if you ever consider communications, get a ham radio. Communications and utilities will most likely be gone during a large earthquake that we're talking about in this area.